It's been a bad year for the restaurant industry, and that's putting it lightly. From beloved family diners to hip new eateries, these are the chains that might not see 2026. TGI Fridays is no stranger to financial trouble, but things appear to have become much worse in recent years. To patch up its finances, the company decided to close 50 of its U.S. restaurants across 12 states by the end of 2024.
Why, is everybody cooking in their houses or getting meal kits? Is that why they don't want Fridays anymore? I think you still should go out and have a good time.
Now, TGI Fridays prepares for 2025 with bated breath. In November 2024, TGI Fridays Inc. began the Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection process. In order to restructure, the company will borrow a sum of $5.9 million. Meanwhile, franchisees are panicked that a $50 million sum issued in unredeemed gift cards won't be reimbursed by TGI Fridays Inc., as the gift card credit massively exceeds what the company has borrowed. In the face of inflation, labor shortages, and the ever-changing landscape of the fast casual food industry, TGI Fridays has failed to find its footing. Part of the company's restructuring plan will likely include closing additional restaurants as a way to trim costs. But with U.S. locations down 25% already, the road to redemption won't be easy. Denny's has been around since the 1950s, and by now the diner is really showing its age. Declining sales have prompted Denny's execs to announce the closure of 150 underperforming locations across the U.S., which accounts for 10% of its restaurants. The shutdowns won't happen all at once, though. About a third of the Denny's slated for closure will shutter by the end of 2024, while the remaining locations will close in 2025.
I love Denny's. I didn't expect this to be the only one here.
Known as a family restaurant by day and a night owl spot after dark, Denny's depends on in-house dining to turn a profit. COVID-19 damaged the chain's foot traffic, however, and business never really recovered after that. Couple that with inflation, and you've got a perfect recipe for financial struggle. To make matters worse, the company's stock fell nearly 20% when it announced those closures in October 2024. Most of the Denny's locations that are closing have struggled because they're old, or in some cases, because the neighborhoods they were built in are no longer commercially viable for a diner-style restaurant. For the surviving locations, the company plans to implement an improvement plan. More robust marketing efforts at the local level, reviewing lease terms, and bettering the employee training program are all part of Denny's strategy to see off further threats to the chain's future. The writing has been on the wall for Applebee's for some time now. In the restaurant chain rat race, Applebee's has fallen well short of the competition, closing 46 locations and opening just 10 in 2023. A year later, Applebee's parent brand, Dine Brands Global, announced that another 25 to 35 locations will close. Applebee's has also faced a hiring crisis lately. At one point, the company was forced to offer a free appetizer to applicants over 18 who applied for a position on National Hiring Day.
We're eating good in the neighborhood.
Meanwhile, Dine Brands has something else in mind to help save the troubled chain. For some time, the parent company has floated the idea of building Applebee's and IHOP combination restaurants. IHOP has recently performed well with menu revamps and overall growth, and other chain mashups, such as KFC and Taco Bell, have been set into motion over the years, so it's certainly a viable pitch. Whether this 1-2 punch can save Applebee's from ruin, however, remains to be seen. If any chain knows the hardships of life in the family restaurant business, it's Red Lobster. The seafood chain's professional woes have played out very publicly, including its Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection filing in May 2024. Shortly before approaching the court, Red Lobster closed 93 of its restaurants in one day and claimed to be saddled with over $1 billion in debt. As part of its restructuring plan, Red Lobster closed 23 more locations in August 2024. Some of Red Lobster's pitfalls were the result of bad marketing. In 2003, Red Lobster advertised a $22.99 endless crab promotion and lost $3.3 million in under 2 months. Desperate to bring people into its restaurants post-COVID, the company launched $20 endless shrimp in 2023. This time, the promotion drained $11 million. Two bad promotions don't make a chain self-destruct, however. Red Lobster's mismanagement under major shareholder Thai Union also turned Red Lobster into a shell of its former self, with an aggressive focus on cost-cutting taking the restaurant's reputation from hero to zero. In early 2024, Thai Union agreed to walk away from Red Lobster in exchange for a $530 million write-off. Red Lobster will enter 2025 with improved management and a streamlined fleet of restaurants, but will these efforts be enough? From the get-go, BurgerFi has boasted about its use of all-natural, antibiotic-free meats and fresh vegetarian-friendly options. The approach was right in step with the demands of the most modern fast casual chains, and BurgerFi was awarded all kinds of accolades and positive attention as a result. But it hasn't been enough to save the company from trouble. In July 2024, BurgerFi reported a projected loss of $18.4 million in a single quarter, apparently the result of rapid employee turnover, a drop in same-store sales, and a menu in dire need of revamping. Word soon spread that if BurgerFi couldn't secure financing from another lender, the chain wouldn't be long for this world. Then in September 2024, it filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, hoping that a reorganization of funds would allow the company to continue operating as normal. Franchisee locations of BurgerFi and its sister brand, Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza and Wings, were excluded from the Chapter 11 filing. In August 2024, Buca di Beppo buckled under mounting financial pressures and filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection.
Being able to work here and have the experiences that I did here, it's just really sad that all of a sudden it so abruptly became to an end.
Poor sales numbers were a motivating factor in the filing, as was the fact that the restaurant chain was nearly $40 million in the hole with its lender, Main Street Capital Corporation, and even struggled to pay utility bills for its restaurants. Meanwhile, unpaid compensation owed to past and present employees totaled over $3 million. The early 90s were rosier times for the chain, which made a name for itself as a kind of kitsch alternative to mid-century red sauce Italian joints. In 1996, however, a new CEO stripped much of the playfulness from Buca di Beppo's original decor while also cutting corners in the kitchen. The company was purchased by Planet Hollywood in 2008, and despite these earlier red flags, continued to expand. Fast forward to the post-COVID era, however, and everything was beginning to fall apart. Sales steadily declined as food and labor costs rose, and in 2024, Buca di Beppo closed 18 locations, with 13 shuttering in July alone. Seattle-based chain Mod Pizza opened in 2008 and quickly expanded, maybe too quickly. In 2024, it was reported that the fast casual eatery was contemplating a bankruptcy filing in order to get its dire financial situation under control. That same year, the company closed 44 of its 500 or so locations. By the end of July, it had been acquired by Elite Restaurant Group. Mod Pizza was lucky to find a buyer without having to go to court, but that doesn't mean it's out of the woods quite yet, as its rapid rate of growth hasn't quite matched up with demand. Elite Restaurant Group aims to refresh Mod Pizza's branding, improve the customer experience, and hopefully get the funds flowing again. The specifics of this reinvigoration plan aren't widely known, but Mod Pizzas around the country continue to shut up shop. In November 2024, a location in Cincinnati, Ohio, closed its doors for good. Rising costs of doing business in a highly competitive market have proved too much to bear for Rubio's Coastal Grill. In June 2024, the chain filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in a gambit for survival after shutting nearly 50 locations.
Well, I'm heartbroken for the employees and all the families that it affects.
With 86 more restaurants still in business, the company has justified the bankruptcy protection as a means to protect the remaining restaurants while trying to find a new business investor. This isn't Rubio's first tango with bankruptcy, however. The chain first filed for Chapter 11 in 2020 after closing 26 locations. The decision resulted in a renewed hope that the chain might see the other side of the COVID-19 pandemic. Unfortunately, those efforts did little to stave off the threat of extinction. Time has not been kind to World of Beer. In the early 2010s, the craft brew chain was a darling on the fast casual circuit. This early success was an incentive for the company to quickly grow its nationwide presence, something that was made possible through the use of franchisees. As the restaurant industry engaged in post-COVID cleanup, however, World of Beer's cracks were exposed. The money wasn't there, and neither were the customers. Contentious relations between World of Beer and its franchisees quickly spelled trouble for the company. A $25.6 million debt and the closing of 14 locations soon left World of Beer vulnerable, and in August 2024, the company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. Just 33 World of Beer locations remain. In doing this, the company is seeking a bailout by a wealthy corporation so that it can consolidate its debt and draft plans for a promising future. There hasn't been much reported on how World of Beer will save itself in the difficult sit-down casual sector, though. Will they be clinking glasses through 2025? Only time will tell. Founded in 1985 as Boston Chicken, Boston Market has enjoyed massive popularity in the fast casual space.
And it's so tender and delicious, you'll think it's the best chicken you've ever tasted. In fact, we guarantee it.
Families looked to the chain's shareable portions of rotisserie chicken and sides as an easy alternative to home cooking. and for fairer prices than what competitors were offering. Encouraged by this success, McDonald's bought Boston Market in 2000 for $173.5 million. Less than 10 years later, it was sold to Sun Capital. Around that time, more than 500 Boston Market outlets operated across the country. At one point, that number climbed as high as 1,200. So what went wrong? Those competitive prices meant an eventual drop in food quality, which may have hurt profits long term. At the same time, grocery store rotisserie chickens thwarted the attention of the chain's family-minded consumers. A rise of customizable quick eats from the likes of Chipotle, Qdoba, and others also aligned better with modern customers' evolving tastes. And when Sun Capital offloaded the chain to Rohan Group in 2020, Rohan's owner, Jay Pandya, allegedly ran his new acquisition into the ground. Pandya's mismanagement of company funds was reportedly exploitative and illegal. Careless overexpansion resulted in sky-high debts that went unpaid, while lawsuits piled up and locations shuttered by the dozens. Employees in some locations went unpaid, while Pandya continued to line his pockets. Today, only 22 Boston Market locations appear to be operational. Tex-Mex purveyor Tijuana Flats might not make it far into 2025. By April 2024, the chain had closed 40 locations and racked up $19 million in debt. A 2021 menu expansion did more harm than good as the new items required more equipment and manpower to execute properly. As a result, the high-risk menu strategy crumbled and Tijuana Flats' customer base continued to dwindle. The company declared bankruptcy in the spring of 2024 before being sold to Flatheads LLC. Execs have expressed a hopeful outcome since then, but it's hard to tell whether this is just PR posturing. As far as Tijuana Flats' future goes, all of this might just be too little, too late. The fall of Sticky's finger joint reads like one corporate nightmare after another. Although the company successfully survived the quarantine phases of the pandemic, it never fully bounced back from the struggles of that era. Weekday foot traffic near Sticky's original NYC locations experienced a significant decrease due to many of the city's workers switching to remote schedules. To combat the loss in customers, Sticky's increased prices, and that only alienated customers further. Then in 2021, the head office shut down in an effort to curb operating costs, breaking its lease to do so. The landlord subsequently sued and won. Sticky's was then sued again in 2022, this time a trademark infringement claim made by a barbecue chain called Sticky Fingers. As you might expect, all that drama has proven disastrous for Sticky's finances. The chain's only Philadelphia restaurant shuttered within 5 months of opening. Efforts to break into franchising failed to take off, and in April 2024, the company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. Today, only 10 locations remain in operation.